Right. So welcome everyone to the content planning webinar for October. It's great to have you all here. So before we get started, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping to make you aware of a couple of things. So today's session will be recorded and a copy of it will be emailed to you by Business Station. And just so that you're aware, with the recording, it will also go on Business Station's YouTube channel. Now, as it's a webinar, your information won't be available publicly to people, but if you wish to ask a question, please bear in mind that I'll probably say your name, and just in the interest of privacy, I like to be clear and transparent about that. Today's webinar will last for 1 hour and we will finish on time. So just to be clear, I won't be holding you up or anything like that. However, I will say at the end of the session, if you're in the flow, keep going with your content planning and creating. It's really great. Now, there is time built in for today's webinar for questions, and there's a little bit of time dedicated at the end, but you will find with the webinar today that most of what you're going to be doing is you're going to be doing a lot of the work, and I'm going to be guiding you through it, which is why that handout is so helpful. So let's start, and I'll just introduce myself for those of you who haven't met me. I'm Sarah Thompson. I'm the owner and founder of Online Social Butterfly, which is my own company that I've been running for the last 10 years. And I have a background in marketing and communications. So I've worked in that my entire career, which is now over 25 years. I've been a specialist trainer and advisor with Business Station for the last 2.5 years. And in that time, I've trained, I hate to think how much training I've done, but I've certainly done, in terms of one-to-one advisor, I've seen over 1,000 individual businesses. So definitely kept me out of trouble. And I do love training is my happy place. So I do hope you enjoy this webinar. If you haven't come across me before, I do consider myself to be a marketing expert. So I have worked my entire career in it. And on top of that, I also have quite a lot of qualifications. So I'm currently studying and completing my master's. So I'm in my final semester of that. And I'm also just completing my Cert 4 in training and assessment. So both of those come November, the end of November, I will be celebrating because all of my study will be finished and I will not be starting anything else. I did have it in my mind I was going to do a PhD, and I think that's too hard at the moment. So that's a little bit about who I am. If you'd like to connect with me personally, you're welcome to connect with me on Facebook and Instagram, my favorite places to hang out, and happy to chat and connect with you there. So if you all have the handout handy, goodness, that's a lot of trippy over words. We're going to be working through this, and I'm going to be helping you with this. So the first page that we have on our handout is a little review of where you are now. And this is really important to do. So on the handout, if you've printed it out, I would encourage you to put today's date in it, which is the 30th of September. So it's the last day of the month. And what I want to do, and I'll be honest, I track my numbers all the time. I'm a little bit obsessive about them because I like to see that I'm working and improving and constantly striving towards more numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a few minutes to get that information. So if you're not sure where to get it, if you're on your phone with Instagram, that information is really available under Insights. If you are on your desktop, you can't get Instagram Insights, but you can get your Facebook Insights as well. So I'd like you to take a couple of minutes to grab some of that information so that we can have a starting point, because these classes, we want to run them each month and get you attending and growing and moving your business forward. So I'll give you 3 minutes to do that, and I will sit here quietly while you do that. If you are stuck, please pop it in the chat so that I can help you with that. Okay, everyone. So that's your couple of minutes now done to kind of give you a little starting point. Now, I know that it can feel a little bit useless capturing this information because you don't have a comparison point. But what I would encourage you to do is to try and track your data every single month. It's really helpful to see how things are going. And it's particularly helpful. The numbers can just be a little bit of vanity, but I do believe if we concentrate on consistently growing our social media, it will grow our business. So I think they are still important. But the information about your posts is really, really key, because if we're not showing up and creating content like our posts and our stories and our reels, we're not visible in our business. And that's really, really important, that we want to try and capture that information to kind of set ourselves a benchmark of this is how I went last month, and this is what my goal is going to be for the next month moving forward. Okay, so when it comes to understanding social media and content planning, it's really important that your social media has a plan and a theme. And one of the reasons that I say that is because if we have a plan and a theme, we're more likely to post more often, okay? So one of the reasons we often struggle to post on social media is because we don't know what to say. And the problem with that means that we often don't then post, and then we post something that's really mediocre. Now, if you're not familiar with it, the Facebook and Instagram are heavily driven by algorithms. And what the algorithm's job is to dictate what content people will see and what will go in their newsfeed. So what they're looking for is lots of different measures, but a couple of ones that are really important is recency. So when was the last time that you posted? So if you have no plan, it's highly likely that you're going to be posting infrequently or sporadically. Further, if you're creating posts that you're just like, oh, I just need to get something out, and you just flash something out, it's quite likely that your post is going to be quite a low standard, and it means it's not going to get engagement. So what we're trying to do by planning our content is to improve how often we post and to improve the quality of it so that it gets more engagement. And that's what we're going to be focused on today. So let's talk about our content plan. And we're going to be now jumping onto the second page of the handout that you've got. And if you can try not to rush ahead on this, I'd be really grateful, because what I want you to do is try and focus on putting as much information and detail in each one of these sections. So with your social media, it is really, really important that we don't try and tell everyone everything that we have to offer, okay? In my business, I have lots of workshops that I run, lots of webinars, lots of one-to-one advisory, and then I also have online courses. So I have so many products and services in my business. And the reality of social media is I can't tell people about all of them at the same time, because it becomes really, really overwhelming. And they're like, I don't know what I want to do with her. I don't know how I want to work with her. So what we need to be very clear about is we need to have for the month one theme. And what we want to do is choose something to focus on in our business. So one product, one service, one offer. So for the month just gone during September, the theme in my business was Canva, and that led through to the Canva Classroom, which is an online bundle of online courses that I have. So really, really simple, because I don't want to talk about everything that I constantly have because it's overwhelming for people. And remember, people don't see all of your content. So if you kind of post, like, let's say I've got a Facebook ads course and I post about it once a fortnight, lots of people are not going to see it at all. So they're going to miss that information. And you actually really need to give it lots of focus and priority. So I want you to start with the first question on this page. And I want you to think about what one product or service or offering would you like to focus on for the month of October. Now I want you to write that in that box, and I then want you to describe this like, so imagine that I've just met you and you're like, oh, tell me what the Canva Classroom is. I have to be able to describe that in words that are very simple. So the Canva Classroom is a bundle of 4 online classes that will take you from not ever using Canva to feeling very confident creating social media posts. So see, that's very clear. And then I want you to have a think about what will you include in that information. Like, so my Canva Classroom must make sure I tell people what the price is. How will they access it? Like, it's online. How often can they watch it? How long do they get access for? All that kind of information. So I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to do this, because this will set us up for the rest of today's webinar. So I want you to think about, in your business, what would you like to be promoting? Now, remember, we're entering the final quarter of 2021, which means that you might want to start thinking about, what do I need to kind of sell in my business to get me through my goals? What might be important to people in terms of their priority right now? So we're coming to the end of school holidays. We're entering term 4. If we have children, we're in the lead up to Halloween, Black Friday, Christmas. There's lots coming up. So I want you to think about your audience and what would make sense for you to be promoting to them right now. Okay. So take some time with these questions because they're going to make everything a whole lot easier if you do. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do that. Okay, so that's your time up for that. But I'm hoping that you've got on here a very clear idea of what it is that you're going to be talking about during the month of October. Now, one of the things that I want you to understand is the reason why we often get overwhelmed with social media is because we sit down at our computer and it's like, oh, Sarah said I need to post regularly. So you're sitting there and going, what do I post? And you have no idea because you're like, oh, I have all these things in my business and I should be doing this and that. And it becomes really problematic because we just don't have any focus and we don't have any clarity. So what we want to be really clear about with having a plan and a focus is that if you like leave today's class and you do nothing else, you'll be able to sit down and go, okay, so this month I'm going to be talking about my Facebook group. And so here's some of the content ideas that I've got, and you can write a post really easily. And I cannot stress how important doing a little planning will, like the impact it will have on your ability to create posts really regularly. So if you've done a really good job of this, it's going to really help you when you're creating content, because a lot of the time what we also do is we go into the space of just assuming people know everything about our product or our service or our offer. And this single page here is going to be really, really important because it reminds us that people don't always understand that. And something that I've had to tell myself really regularly is when I'm promoting my courses, like my course called the Canva Classroom, I have to put in the inclusions. This is a program that is delivered online and you can watch it as often as you want, whenever you want. Now, I know that because I understand how online courses work, but I forget that sometimes people don't know that. So remember to try and put yourself in your audience's shoes. And if they don't have that information, be sure to share it with them, okay? Because then they don't feel silly having to ask that. Okay, so we're going to jump on to page 3, and we're going to have a think about who our audience is, like who is our ideal customer for this product or service or offer in our business, and what is it that we need to tell them about it. Now, this is going to take a little bit of time for us to go through these. So I'm going to give us about 3 minutes on each question. So I want you to try and stay with me on this and don't rush ahead, because this is so important. So with question 1, before they buy, what do they need to know from you? Okay, who are you? What makes you different? And what are the details on the product or service or offer? So this is what I want you to think about for question 1. I want you to think about who are you in terms of your business. So I'm Sarah and I'm from Online Social Butterfly and been in business for 10 years and my background experience is 25 years. Okay, that's what makes me different. I also have lots of qualifications in marketing and communications. That's what makes me different. Other things people might want to know about you, okay? What would they like to know about you or your business? If you have a product in your business that is sourced in a specific way, if you're interested in sustainability, what are those other values that people might like to know about? So this is why I'm saying this takes a little bit of time. So if you're struggling with this, please do what Enrica did and pop it in the chat so I can respond. But I'm going to give you 3 minutes for each question, but after each one, I'm going to bring you back and go through the next one. So stay with me and let's just go with question 1 to start with. Okay, so that's the first question answered on page 3. And I want us to move on to the next question of why do they need it? Now, this is something that we often forget, is that we think, oh, I need to sell this, and this is what it's all about. And I often forget to go, if this is my audience or my ideal customer, what is the help and support that they are looking for? What is the problem that it solves? Okay, and I want to give you a couple of examples of this because we forget what our audience's problems are, and they're not what they tell us. All right, I want to be really, really clear about this. So people will come to, I'm going to come back to my Canva classroom. People will come and say, oh, I'd like to be more confident using Canva, and I'd like to, I'd like to just show up a bit more on social media. So if I had good images, I feel like I could do that. That's what people will tell you is why they want to get confident on Canva. Here's what actually is going on in their head is keeping them awake at night. I feel really embarrassed that my social media posts look like an amateur, and that reflects on my business. I look at what my competitors are doing when I'm on Instagram, and I feel like I shouldn't even be showing up because I look so poor. Okay, so it's a lot of embarrassment and shame and imposter syndrome going on. Okay, so digging into that mindset, I want you to think about your audience and think about in their heart, what's going on that's keeping them awake at night? Why do they need to buy this product or service or offer from you? So I want you to give this a little bit of thought and dig a little bit deeper than just, this is what I tell people, I just want to be better at that. Okay, that is not what's keeping them awake at night. So I want you to spend a good bit of time on this. We're going to have another 3 minutes and I want you to dive into it. Okay, so I hope that that's been quite a fun exercise, because it's something that I do try and make myself do really regularly, to try and tap into what people's problems are and how I can help them solve them. So the next question is, I want you to think about, once I've purchased the product or service, or taking you up on your offer, what is that going to look and feel like? How am I going to feel? So I bought the Canva classroom and I was like feeling embarrassed and feeling like my business looked poor in comparison to my competitors. And now I feel like I can show up, create great content and feel really confident. So I want you to connect, just not with how does it look, but how does it feel? Because remember, when you talk to people's feelings, you really connect with them, and that's so important. So I want you to think about, what does it look like for someone? Like, once I joined this Facebook group, I felt connected and part of a community, and like I wasn't going it alone, and I didn't feel silly and embarrassed. I had the same worries as other people. So I want you to try and connect with some of these outcomes. And again, dig, like you did with the problems, I want you to dig really deep and see what that looks like. Because remember, if my problems are like I'm really embarrassed and ashamed and things, what is the opposite of that? What does the outcome feel like? So I'm going to give you 3 minutes again to work on those. Okay, I wish I could see you all, because quite often when I'm doing this workshop, people get right into the flow of writing and creating. So unfortunately, I can't see you all, so I'm just going to have to keep moving forward. I hope that's okay. So the last one that I want us to address on page 3 is all about objections. And this is really, really important that we tackle this and think about it, because people will always have objections, even when we're offering them something for free, okay? So if I wanted people to join my Facebook group, which is a free group, the reasons that they won't join, okay? very interesting. People go, oh, because other people in there might like be smarter than me, might be further in their business journey than me, and I might feel silly, or I might find it really overwhelming because there's too much information and I can't keep up, or it just becomes more clutter that I feel like I should be giving attention to and I don't have time. So the objections that people give you can be as simple as, you know, time or money. But I want you to dig it a little bit deeper that I'm too busy or I can't afford it are very simple explanations as to what's actually going on underneath, okay? So when people are too busy, it indicates that they are worried about what you're going to be giving them, what it's going to add to their workload. And when it comes to finances, there's lots of things going on between that. So I want you to dig a little bit deeper into the objections. And whilst you're writing these, I would like to kind of challenge you to say, how would you respond to these? So if you're writing a post saying, would you like to join my Facebook group, but feel like you might be not far enough along in your business, let me tell you, this is what my group is about. Okay. And so you can give people a little explanation. So again, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to write this, and then we're going to jump on to the next thing. Okay, everyone. Now, I'm hopeful that those prompts have really allowed you to get your creative juices flowing. And what's really important about these is that they put us in the position of our audience, and it gets us thinking about them rather than, I want to sell my Canva classroom, can everyone just buy it already? We really, really need to focus on our social media posts about our audience and understanding these. And these 4 questions are so, so important for that. Okay, so when it comes to content ideas, we've got some prompts. So we're now on page 4 of our handout. And what I want you to look at is these 4 questions and how they relate to the kind of content that you think you could create for your business. So we're going to spend a little bit of time on each one of these, and I'm going to go through them together one by one. Now, what is really, really important is that we want to think about in our business how we can give people information to support that theme for the month. So the first thing I want us to think about is testimonials. Now, you're only going to have about 5, actually, maybe I can give you a bit longer, 43. I can give you a little bit longer. So you might want to go and have a quick check of your Facebook and Google reviews to see what people have said about this particular product or service or offering. Now, if you are launching something new, but it relates to working with you, you can use a review where someone said, Sarah's great and I love working with her, okay? It just gives people an indication of that social proof, okay? The other thing you can think about is, do you have some case studies that people would find of value? So case studies are really, really simple and they can be anonymous. So you can say, one of my clients that I've worked with recently was in this position where they were this. So what was it like before? What action or journey did you take them from? And what was the outcome? The great thing about case studies is they allow people to go, oh, that's me. That's what that could look like for me. So case studies and testimonials are fantastic for that. So the other thing I want you to think about is the behind the scenes. Now, behind the scenes is all about what's happening that I don't get to see front facing. And I cannot stress enough how much people love behind the scenes because they give us an insight into what's going on inside your business. Now, if you don't believe me, the #1 rated YouTuber is an account called PewDiePie. And what they do is they unbox toys and products and review them as they're going. Now, if anyone had any doubt about how successful looking at that is, I speak to my children about this. I'm like, just go and buy the Lego and unbox it yourself. And it's like, well, I want to see what it's like. It's really fun. So behind the scenes are a really great way of people getting a taste of your products or your services and what does that look like. Now, behind the scenes can take on any form, and I don't care what your business is, you can always do behind the scenes. So I have a decently boring business. I speak in front of a computer most of the day, okay? But I often get to take some behind the scenes, so I'll show what that looks like here. I will get like my husband to take a video of me talking so people can see what that looks like. And I can do speed up videos of me working, which can be quite fun. I can also give people a taste of what it goes into. So when I'm creating things, I do lots of paper and I like lots of mess. So it's nice to share that kind of thing. So I want you to get your juices flowing about behind the scenes. And the next one I want you to think about is quick tips. So how do you show people that you have knowledge and expertise in a specific area? And I cannot stress this enough because the last month I've focused on my Canva. Giving away lots of free tips does not mean that my online course has nothing to teach people. All it does is show people that I'm an expert in that area and that I have lots to teach them, because this is what I'm giving for free. Imagine what my class has got in it. So don't be afraid of quick tips. And by quick tips, it can be also around, like if you have a product or service in your business, like say I sell tea, for example, I could give some tips on how to make your tea last longer and stay fresher. So it's information around my product necessarily related to my product. And the last thing I want you to think about is having a long post or a blog post. Now, this allows you to create content that people can really engage with. Now, I don't do these very often, maybe once a month, but I like to kind of give what I call an opinion piece. And so if something will have happened in my space, or maybe my industry or my sector, and I have some very specific thoughts on that. So I can give my information on what do I think about it, what does that, or how does that work? The other thing you can try is if you want to, rather than giving a quick tip, you can give a long and detailed tip. So I'm going to give you, I'll give you 6 minutes. I'm trying to keep myself on time. And I want you to flesh out some of these ideas and see where you can go with them. It's really, really important. Okay, everyone, that's almost your time up now. So I'm hopeful that you have found that really, really useful, because one of the things I really want you to focus on is when you are creating content. So remember, after today, ideally, I'd love you to sit and actually write some specific posts based on your content plan. But if you are busy, which is totally fine, what I want you to do is have this plan by your side. So when you sit down in the morning and like, I've got to write a post, I want you to grab that plan and go, right, my focus for this month is getting new members into my Facebook group. And one of the content ideas is overcoming objections or understanding people's problems or creating a testimonial. So all of this is designed to give you plenty of content to help you talk about this very easily throughout the coming month. And trust me when I say, you will find it so easy to write posts when you have a plan and a focus. So what I've given you today is what we call a content plan, which is the overarching ideas with some things that you can mix and match with. So you can write a post and you can get clever with it. So if we come back to my Canva classroom example, I can give a tip and say, did you know in Canva, you can filter images and photos by a specific color? And here's how you do it. If you've loved this tip and are wondering what else you don't know about using Canva, why not grab my Canva classroom? It's available now online here. So see, I've mixed up a quick tip with an objection and with a delivery method. So I put them all together in one easy post. Now I know I made that sound super easy, but remember, this is what I do for a living, so I should be decently good at writing quick posts off the bat. But what I want you to do, because I know that today we've spent basically an hour getting you in the flow of understanding your kind of focus for the upcoming month, writing out those ideas, the best thing you could do after today is continue on and start writing some content and actually having that ready to go. And if you're feeling awesome, you could even schedule it. So that's that part of today's webinar concluded. But I did want to just say that on your final page of your handout PDF that you have been given, I have got what we call general theme ideas for October. Now that gives you days of the month, and I love that the 1st of October is International Coffee Day because I love my coffee. And there are some general theme ideas for days that are kind of cool. And there are also themes for the whole month of October, so you can use those as well. So I want you to have a think about if any of those would work for your business, if they would be relevant. Now I also put underneath that what we've got coming up in terms of themes for October and November, because it is a great idea to start looking ahead to see what's coming up. And remember, I mentioned that in November, we have coming up Black Friday, which is Friday, the 26th of November. And that is an excellent opportunity for you to make some big sales before Christmas. And I will give myself a shameless plug and say I have got a free webinar on planning your Black Friday promotions running through Business Station. So if you jump onto the Business Station website and have a little look, you'll be able to book into that webinar if you're thinking that you'd love to do Black Friday, but you don't know how to approach it. So that's my shameless plug of myself. And I'm going to just wrap up by just seeing if anybody had any final questions before I just go and let you know a little bit more about the Digital Solutions Program. Right, just answering someone individually. All right, okay. So just as a final wrap up before we end today's session, I wanted to just let you know about the Digital Solutions Program. So today, all of you have attended this webinar for free, and it's part of the federal government's program to help you as small business owners improve your digital capabilities. Now, the Digital Solutions Program was previously called ASBAS, or Australian Small Business Advisory Service. If you're interested in working with someone one-to-one as an expert advisor, these are the areas of support that we currently offer. So we have 4 key digital capability areas. And the new program is 7 hours of personalized mentorship for only $44, which is an excellent price. Now, to find out if you are eligible, and most of you on this webinar will be, you need to have an ABN that is registered in WA, Queensland, or the Northern Territory. You need to be a for-profit business, so i.e. not a not-for-profit. I love those double negatives. And you need to employ less than 20 people full-time in your business. So presumably all of you meet that criteria. So if you are interested, you need to just follow the link that's on the page, which is businessstation.link/register. And when you go to register, you can let them know what areas of support and assistance you will need. And if you would like to work with a specific advisor, i.e. myself, you can put my name, Sarah Thompson, in the request an advisor spot in there. If you don't put an advisor, you'll be allocated an advisor based on the needs that you have expressed that you need help and support with. Now, as an external advisor, I'm only allowed to take on 5 clients a month. And the great news is it is the end of the month. So if you do want to work with me, my areas of expertise cover a great amount of digital marketing, but specifically Facebook marketing, Facebook ads, Canva, Instagram, and content. So if those are areas that you'd like support with, I'd love to work with you one-on-one. But if you're not sure what you need, you don't need to put my name down, and an advisor will be allocated to you based on what your requirements are. So I want to just wrap up and say thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you have found this content plan helpful, and I sincerely hope that you might be able to find some time to maybe go and write some posts. But if you don't, remember, your plan is your roadmap. So every time you sit down and write a post, I want you to be very focused on what that theme for the upcoming month is. I'm wishing you all the success for the month ahead. And if you'd like to join me, this class runs every month towards the end of the month to help you plan the month ahead. So have a great day, and I'll chat to you all soon. Thanks very much.